This is the Real Pod Newscast with Levon Putney with a quick check on what's going on. So here's my man to get into it.
Happy Hump Day. Thanks for listening. Hope everyone is well on this solar eclipse day. More on that later in this newscast, but not a lot of areas in the U.S. will be able to see it. Just some northern and northeastern states. Hey, I'm actually more geeked about this trial starting in Nevada with the man charged in the murder of Tupac 30 years ago now. Whew, it'll be interesting to see, though, how this plays out. I mean, the man had been writing books and doing interviews saying he was behind it all this time, so we'll see. Yeah, I was a huge fan of Pac's. I mean, still am. You know, back then, though, I was definitely one of those holding on to the notion he was still alive. You know, maybe faked his killing to go live with his aunt in Cuba. I was knee-deep in on that conspiracy theory for a few years after his killing. Like, I just could not believe he would get shot right on the Vegas Strip, especially after his songs, you know, talking about his death and references to coming back to life as Machiavelli. Couldn't let go of it. And a shame, too, if you think about it. Pac was growing into really being like LL, Cool J, Fresh Prince, Latifah, you know, by moving into movies and TV roles. Hell of an actor already at that point. Just a big loss. Man, but still, 30 years ago already.
My favorite stories of the day.
There's a common thread I'm about to pull in this first section, and it rhymes with Florida. Starting in Coconut Creek, north of Miami, where one would have to think by now that a 42-year-old would know that using someone's credit card would leave a paper trail. So if Coconut Creek Police's arrest report is accurate, then the Planet Fitness worker they arrested the Saturday before last should have at least known the card's owner would eventually see somebody charge $27.66 at a barbecue joint in the same shopping plaza as the Planet Fitness. On the same day, the card's owner reported losing it while she was working out on the Saturday that last month, which means, if true, police knew the thief was likely at the Planet Fitness. And the barbecue spot in the same shopping center could likely help. Local community site Coconut Creek Talks Crime and Safety section had the police report and posted a news story on this saying an officer did go to the barbecue eating spot where they did help by showing investigators surveillance video of a guy wearing an orange Planet Fitness uniform, buying a meal and an alcoholic drink, they said it, using the victim's credit card. The 42-year-old Planet Fitness worker handcuffed, charged for being old enough to know a good plate of barbecue needs a beer to go with it. But charges also basically accuse him of not being smart enough to know the card's owner, cops, and now the rest of us could find out what he ate and drank. And in Tampa, Fox 13 is reporting a Canadian woman is accused of being prepared to be a lot of different people. Hillsborough County Sheriff's deputies say they stopped a 28-year-old driver Wednesday before last for a traffic-related reason, and deputies say they did what they always do, asked for a driver's license and registration, but said the woman told them she did not have an ID and never had a license. Not a valid one, because deputies say they searched the car once arresting her for driving without a license and found she actually did have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They counted 12 driver's licenses, all with different names and dates of birth. Turns out, deputies say she's a Canadian who overstayed her visa, and if their accusations are true, she made up for no visa by using a bunch of different fake driver's licenses. But now, in jail, facing a real chance of being deported since Fox 13 is saying ICE put a detainer order on her. And in Martin County, Florida, Port St. Lucie area, Fox 10 News is reporting a 77-year-old mail carrier had 80 cats in her home. Nothing criminal there. Lots of cats, but nothing criminal. And sheriff's deputies, though, actually arrested her for having these 80 or so cats. But like I said, it's nothing criminal, no matter what number you put to it. Plus, she did have 12 dogs, so you add them up, 92 cats and dogs in that woman's home. Either way, not criminal in and of itself. But sheriff's deputies called animal control because, well, let's say they gave pictures to Fox 10, and Fox 10 in turn posted those pictures in a story on this. Boy, it was a rescue operation. Looked like a hoarding situation inside. They say the cats and dogs were living in what they refer to as nasty, smelly, having to wear a hazmat suit type of situation. They didn't call it that, but they did post pictures of hazmat suit wearing workers going in and out of that home. And investigators say it looks like she had been scooping up the stray cats while on her mail routes. She's been a mail carrier since the late 90s and now accused of being a serial cat thief. So at this point, Fox 10 said some of the cat owners in the area on her runs as a postal workers whose kittens went missing at some point, yeah, they're wondering if their cats were in the 77-year-old postal worker's house. And I could not end this section without Fox Carolina's story out of the western part of the state where the mayor of Robbinsville was arrested on charges that would lead one to believe he does not see his day job in City Hall as paying enough for his lifestyle. The Graham County Sheriff's Department, well, first of all, had an appropriate name for this case, by the way, since deputies got the mayor on a list of possession charges. When I say possession, I ain't talking guns. I'm talking cocaine, meth, paraphernalia, a Schedule II controlled substance. Concealed firearm, too. And deputies apparently thought he had way too much meth to be doing on his own because they tacked on a trafficking of methamphetamine charge, too. Back in a moment, but before we break.
Blazing the best hip-hop, R&B, reggae, soca.
You can get the Jams Podcast Mix on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, and Deezer. Download the podcast for free.
It's Jams Hour Mix with Greg H.
Department has next level experience with celebrity clients to protect you from harm. Like sitting for a network interview after being indicted. Call McCracken and Butts at 212.
Cow's milk. It still does the body good.
Paid for by a made-up jury committee.
And now for the world around us.
Two of the world's largest rodent took a stroll through the hallways of a state legislature building in the central Brazilian state of Mato Grosso week before last. A state worker saw these two full-grown capybaras calmly walking in, looking around, and checking out what was going on inside, till a worker first whipped out a phone to record this before she slowly but surely guided them back outside. And there was something going on in the building. The legislature was in session. So state lawmakers were busy handling matters. One guy actually walked out of a room and, just walked around them and kept on going about his way while these two big, calm capybaras roamed the hallways of the legislature for a few minutes. At least it was a few minutes worth of video that was recorded, which the Associated Press story got a hold of. On this date, the AP said is actually nothing new to see these capybaras or other animals inside, since there's a park filled with wildlife next to the Mato Grosso State Capitol building. The staffer who video recorded this and led them out tells the AP they actually show up quite often, so they've gotten used to seeing animals like capybaras wander inside the legislative building. Workers just take turns on animal duty. There is a small organ stuck on autoplay for just about 25 years now, quarter of a century, inside the Bachardi Church built in the medieval times in eastern Germany's town of Halberstadt. It's where about 150 people crammed inside the sanctuary last Wednesday, with dozens more people standing outside watching a live stream as this small organ played a note for 3 minutes, a single note, which was the 8th note played by this organ since it started this long drawn-out project to eventually get through the entire song from composer John Cage. It's the world's slowest concert, the way they bill it. And hey, if the Guinness Book of World Records is around in 639 years, it should add this, because this John Cage organ project played its first note of the composition called Organ /ASLSP, which stands for as slow as possible. And like I said, 639 years before it's done. And last Wednesday, those people crowded in and around the church. They were treated to the 7th note being played again before the new 8th note blew through the organ pipes. And speaking of pipes, the chord change, well, that's actually a manual process. Someone with the project actually changes out one of the pipes if they need to create the exact note that's supposed to be played. This musical odyssey started with the first note on September 5th, 2001, 6 days before 9/11, and is on track to keep doing this until the last note is supposed to be played on September 4th, 2640. Now, who knows if this organ can stay in playing shape for that long, or even if this medieval age church will still be standing in 639 years. But I am pretty sure it will be one heck of a scene if the composer is still around to take a bow at the end. Then again, hey man, AI might have turned us into immortal beings by that point to serve them. You know how when we shop for a new mattress, we're told by the salespeople to actually try it out, lay down on the showroom mattress in the store? A couple in Taiwan did that a few weeks ago, and the UK's Daily Star tabloid paper picked up the story because it was a story, since the way the couple tried out that mattress set in the IKEA store in Taiwan made it a story, since the Daily Star is saying their mattress test led a kid to run to mom to tell her 2 people were doing something disgusting. So she went to see, then whipped out her phone to shoot video. Yeah, it's not a porn. She posted clips on Threads. Daily Star is reporting that couple could not have cared less, though. Their shoes were on the next display bed. Her shirt was up and her pants were down, and his hands were, well, apparently all over that mattress. Under Taiwan's indecency laws, the couple could get fined or up to a year in prison if arrested and charged. But the Daily Star is saying no word from local police or IKEA, for that matter, on whether they'll get them for indecency. Well, at least they didn't go all the way and make that kid go, "Mommy, there's a man on top of a woman on the bed and he keeps pushing down on her." There's an old saying among some old school moms who would tell their kids, especially back in the day, to never leave home wearing dirty underwear or underwear full of holes, since, one never knows if we'd have to take off shoes or pants while out, and God forbid we end up in a hospital after some sort of accident while out. And now nurses and doctors see these Swiss cheese boxer drawers and socks with a toe sticking out. Not how moms want us seen. It's a reflection on them. So if this city councilwoman in New Zealand, though, still has her mom around, she might have gotten a call from her, because the Sun's U.S. edition ran a story on how the Monday of last week, this councilwoman in Dunedin, I think I remember how it's pronounced, in New Zealand, used Zoom at home to join a meeting full of people. They were sitting around a big table in a conference room, had a still shot of this. And for some reason, this councilwoman was set up in her bathroom, not using the toilet or brushing her teeth or anything like that, but the councilwoman apparently does not have a dryer in her home. Had several pieces of her underwear just hanging in the background. The Sun story says somebody in the conference room started giggling as soon as her video popped up on one of the TV screens in the room. The mayor was quoted there saying, "You might want to move your camera," to which the councilwoman replied, "Why? Where is it?" And the mayor said, "We can see you're washing," to which the councilwoman said, "That's great. You can see I'm washing. You can see me. That is no problem." And then from there, just went into her comments about government reform. They did not look like lace or anything kinky, but New Zealand morning and talk shows, oh boy, they reportedly had a lot to say and ask after this about Zoom etiquette. Who knows? Maybe it was less about etiquette and more about helping this woman find a better place where she can get a good Wi-Fi signal. Or a washer and dryer, or a dryer especially. Back in a moment.
Brought to you by the ASMR Network, where every sound is a turn on.
Oh, who's gonna finish cooking?
Sometimes your dog is just not fighting with you.
Don't run away.
So to get the pooch's attention back, try
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
The AI Dog Trainer, which uses the latest teaching techniques from thousands of experts online in movies and on TV.
Chopper, sick balls.
The AI Dog Trainer can even give advice.
Just don't let me see you shooting no dog.
The AI Dog Trainer, find it in your favorite app store, free to download, just pay for the training.
What's up with what's going down, though?
Because of the slanted angle, today's solar eclipse will sort of slant its way across the planet. The U.S.'s most northern states, Alaska and Maine, they'll have the best views of it, here in America at least. The Atlantic seaboard from Boston down to D.C. are supposed to have a chance at seeing a little of it, so partial to us here in the U.S., but it is a total eclipse of the sun in parts of Greenland, Iceland, northern Russia, Spain, and a bit of Portugal. Yeah, those areas will totally see how the moon will line up to move right across the sun in front of it. And even though it'll be a partial eclipse in parts of America where it can be seen, NASA and every other scientist who understands this stuff tells us all the time, really, to never not look directly at the sun at any point, even if it is a partial eclipse. Partial eclipse does not mean partial sun rays and radiation. Our eyes are not equipped. Just peeking at the sun can cause lasting damage. At least that's what optometrists and NASA researchers have been saying, even if looking through binoculars, telescopes, or cameras. And they say sunglasses don't help either. Even if the very dark ones, you have those on, you're not enough protection. So just don't do it.
Please do subscribe to the audio version of The Goodness Factor with Shelley Wade podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe to the video version of the podcast on the YouTube channel, The Goodness Factor with Shelley Wade.
Hurricane messing up your brain. They'll make it come up lame. The lady won't have nothing to do with you and your game. So I'm urging all of you to refrain from the hurricane. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. The Wicked Chaz on the keyboards, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it for the Wicked Chaz. Looks like he's already had too many hurricanes.
Slammy Sammy, bringing back a lot of wild memories with that old jam. Mike Mann here.
And that does it for another Real Pod newscast. Thanks as always for listening. And if wanting to listen to or read song credits for this show, I'll post it like I always do on the show's Facebook page by Saturday. Other than that, hey, have a great rest of the week and weekend, and I'll holler back next Wednesday.
This has been the Real Pod Newscast with Levon Putney from Show Enough Productions. And for more, hit up the website, realpodnewscast.com. That's real with 2 E's. This is Big Daddy Marty Allen. Thanks for listening.
Madonna will turn 68, and so will act. Oh boy, next year she'll have. Never mind. And so will. And so. Show enough.